Nightmare Fuel, the legacy of Bran Castle. Welcome to Curious Conundrums, where we now dive into the haunting history of Bran Castle, the inspiration behind Castle Dracula. Perched in the Transylvanian Alps of central Romania, Bran Castle was built between 1377 and 1388 to guard against the encroaching Ottoman Empire. While much of the surrounding region fell under the sway of various conquering forces, including the Ottoman Turks and the Habsburgs, Bran Castle often remained in the hands of local royals. Over the centuries, the castle underwent modifications and fortifications before slipping into disrepair after the 1880s. In the 1920s, Queen Marie of Greater Romania transformed it into a summer retreat. After the communists seized power in 1948, they repurposed Bran Castle as a museum, a role it still plays today under the ownership of Archduke Dominic of Habsburg. Though Bran Castle inspired the fictional home of Count Dracula, its link to Vlad Tepes, the man who influenced the vampire legend, is tenuous. Vlad never owned Bran Castle, and at most might have stayed briefly as a prisoner, though even that is debated. Hollywood embraced Bran Castle's ominous look as the backdrop for Dracula's lair, cementing its reputation in cinematic horror. The legend of Mothman, picture this. You're out with your partner, enjoying the night, when suddenly you spot an enormous shadow, a creature with wings and glowing red eyes fixed directly on you. Your instincts scream to leave, so you both speed away, hoping the creature will disappear in the rearview mirror. But as you hit 100 miles an hour, you glance back and realize, to your horror, that it's still following, keeping pace effortlessly. This chilling encounter occurred on November 15th in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, marking the beginning of the infamous Mothman sightings that would culminate in the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge. Or did they really end there? This week's Nightmare Fuel explores the other mysterious appearances of the legendary Mothman. For those unfamiliar with the Mothman, it's described as a towering, humanoid figure with massive wings, a head set right between its shoulders without a visible neck, and unmistakable piercing red eyes. To some, it's an omen of disaster, appearing to warn people before tragedy strikes. Others believe it's a creature that brings calamity with it. While many associate Mothman with Point Pleasant, reports of similar sightings have surfaced well beyond West Virginia over the years. From 2011 to 2017, Chicago saw a string of sightings of an entity resembling Mothman. In Houston, TX, locals reported a figure in the 1950s that they called the Batman of Houston, suspiciously similar in description. Some eyewitnesses claim to have spotted a creature like Mothman near the Twin Towers before the 9/11 attacks. And in Minneapolis, MN, there were sightings shortly before the I-35W bridge collapse in 2007. Just before the 2009 swine flu outbreak, residents of Chihuahua, Mexico, described seeing a being closely resembling Mothman. Could these sightings be cases of mistaken identity? Possibly. Large birds like sandhill cranes or owls could be the culprits. And some accounts, such as the alleged sightings near Chernobyl before the nuclear disaster, may have been embellishments inspired by the Mothman prophecies, Richard Keel's book that later became a film. But there are theories that Mothman could be an interdimensional being, or even a visitor from the future, offering ominous warnings of disasters to come. Regardless of its true nature, the Mothman remains a celebrated figure in Point Pleasant, where the town has embraced its legacy. Today, a museum, a statue, and an annual festival honor the mysterious creature. Nightmare Fuel, the haunted dolls of lore. For our next spine-tingling tale, we delve into the world of haunted dolls, those seemingly innocent playthings that have haunted children and adults alike for generations. From the infamous Annabelle doll, whose story inspired a franchise, to the chilling tales of Robert the Doll in Key West, haunted dolls have held a firm place in paranormal lore. The legends surrounding haunted dolls vary, but they share common themes. Often, these dolls are said to house vengeful spirits or souls trapped by traumatic events. Robert the Doll, for example, was given to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto in 1904. Soon after, the Otto household began experiencing inexplicable events. Objects would move on their own, and eerie giggles filled the air. Today, Robert resides in a museum, encased in glass, as it's said that those who mock or photograph him without permission fall victim to misfortunes. Then there's Annabelle, the infamous doll now residing in Ed and Lorraine Warren's occult museum. Said to be possessed by a malevolent spirit, Annabelle was blamed for terrifying incidents, including violent physical attacks and fatal accidents that befell skeptics. According to law, only the intervention of paranormal experts has kept the doll's spirit contained. These stories suggest a strange intersection between childlike innocence and malevolent supernatural forces, reminding us of the thin line between playfulness and horror. Haunted dolls remind us that the familiar can sometimes harbor the most chilling unknowns. So, the next time you pass by an antique store or see a dusty doll in the attic, consider the possibility. Who might be staring back? Nightmare fuel, the toxic horror of the sea. Turning to a less conventional source of terror, let's explore the legends of sea monsters and toxic tides, nightmares lurking in the world's oceans. Sea tales from ancient mariners often describe horrifying creatures, from giant squid that pulled ships into the deep to serpentine beasts winding through icy waves. While some may chalk these stories up to mythology or exaggerated encounters with marine life, recent research into toxic algae blooms adds a sinister twist. Red tides or harmful algal blooms can poison entire ecosystems, making seafood toxic and causing massive die-offs of marine life. Certain species of algae, like Carenia brevis, release neurotoxins potent enough to affect humans, inducing respiratory issues and even memory loss. In recent years, scientists have started to question if historical accounts of ships disappearing, sailors hallucinating, or mass sickness on board vessels might link back to encounters with toxic blooms. Perhaps these sea monsters weren't monstrous animals, but deadly blooms transforming once clear waters into poisonous stretches of death. As we learn more about our planet's fragile ecosystems, these toxic tides serve as a reminder of nature's capacity for destruction. The next time you glimpse a calm ocean, remember the lethal mysteries it can hide, whether in the form of toxic tides or creatures yet unknown. Imagine working in an emergency room when suddenly, one by one, your colleagues start fainting as you tend to a critically ill patient. This is no fiction. It happened in 1994. We now delve into the mystery of Gloria Ramirez, the toxic woman. On February 19, 1994, Gloria Ramirez arrived at Riverside General Hospital in California, suffering from confusion, rapid heart rate, and breathing issues. While she was in late-stage cancer treatment, her current symptoms didn't fit. Staff noted a dark, oily residue on her skin and a strange, garlic-like odor from her breath. But when a nurse drew blood, things took a surreal turn. Susan Kane, the nurse, noticed an ammonia scent coming from Ramirez's blood sample. Moments after passing it to resident Julie Gorczynski, Nurse Kane fainted. Dr. Gorczynski, feeling dizzy, soon collapsed, followed by respiratory therapist Maureen Welch. By the time Ramirez passed away that night, 23 people had fallen ill and 5 required hospitalization. An investigation deemed it mass hysteria. However, skeptics proposed that Ramirez might have been self-medicating with dimethyl sulfoxide, a degreaser ingredient that could have broken down into toxic chemicals. Yet, no definitive explanation exists. Nightmare fuel, the mischievous duende. When it comes to magical creatures, fairies, elves, and leprechauns are familiar faces. But Spanish folklore offers another enigmatic figure, the duende. The term duende may stem from duende de casa, meaning master of the house. These beings vary widely depending on the region and subculture. Some, like the helpful Anjanas, dwell in caves or lakes and assist those in need. Others, like the Dianos, shift shapes to resemble animals or even human babies, causing chaos for those they encounter. Different types of duendes might influence the weather, play endless pranks, or offer their help to the diligent. Much like the Fae, duendes come in many forms. Duendes aren't limited to Spain. In Portuguese tales, they are small, hat-wearing figures that use music to lure children into forests. Latin American legends portray them as guardian spirits of the wild or mischievous house spirits. In the Philippines, the duende live in old trees or caves, quick to reward kindness or punish offense. And in the Mariana Islands, duendes are elusive and shy, yet eager to lead mischievous children astray. Though they can be kind, duendes are not to be crossed. That bump in the night might not be a ghost or a mischievous pet. It might be a duende stirring up trouble. Nightmare fuel, the beast of Gévaudan. From the annals of history comes a chilling tale of a beast that terrorized the province of Gévaudan in 18th century France. This week, Nightmare Fuel examines the mysterious beast of Gévaudan. Between 1764 and 1767, the mountainous region of Gévaudan in south-central France was beset by a creature like a wolf, but not a wolf. It claimed its first victim, a 14-year-old girl, and just over a month later, a second young girl fell prey to the beast. With as many as 90 to 210 attacks attributed to it, the beast killed between 60 and 113 people, with victims often found with torn throats and partially eaten bodies. Witnesses described the creature as the size of a calf, with tawny or russet fur and a dark stripe down its back. Its wolf-like tail was tufted at the end, and it leapt or bounded at its prey with terrifying strength. Some believe it may have been an unusually large wolf, a hybrid, or perhaps even a young lion or striped hyena. Intriguingly, the beast was said to be resistant to bullets or even capable of resurrection. Some accounts suggest there may have been multiple beasts hunting together. The mystery remains unsolved. Whether the beast was an elusive animal or a cryptid, its reign of terror only ended when hunters, including Jean Chastel, finally claimed its life. So the next time you venture outdoors, be aware, you may not be alone. Whether you see Mothman as a guardian, a harbinger, or a creature of myth, one thing's certain: his legend is alive and well. As he continues to appear in unexpected places and dark moments, Mothman keeps us looking over our shoulders and questioning what we believe about the unknown. What do you think? Could Mothman really be a warning from beyond, or just a trick of the night? Have you had your own eerie encounter, or do you know a story we should explore next? If you enjoyed diving into this tale of the strange and supernatural, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what legends and mysteries you'd like to see covered next. Keep your eyes open and remember, sometimes the shadows are watching you back.